making everything right. Do you want to start with roll call, Annie?
Sure. I could see you, but now you just disappeared.
We're coming back.
Or you're back.
We're coming back.
Oh, there. How'd you?
All right. I have myself, Annie, Kathy, Allison France, Ann Hughes, Brian West, Eric Dixon, Aaron Couts, Jason Emery, Kara Hansen, Karen Harrison, Kyla Lennertz, Melissa Fisher, Michelle Denman, Violet Plummer, Connor McCauley, Gretchen Neal, Hermina, MCAT, and I have somebody on the phone ending in 1254. Can you tell me who that is?
This is Craig Caprera with HDR Engineering. Can you hear me?
Yes, Craig. I'm sorry. What was your last name?
Caprera.
Okay, thank you. And then in the admin room, commissioners, I see Dave, Juanita, and Chris. Is there anybody else in there that I'm not seeing?
No, that's it.
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. So is there any public comment on items not on the agenda? Well, get into action items with Jason Emery.
Good morning. This is a simple one, so I'm just requesting permission to sign a contract to upgrade our internet circuit with Blackfoot Communications. As you can imagine, our internet consumption continues to rise as technology becomes more and more part of what we're doing. And so we're starting to experience issues where we're exceeding the capacity of what we currently have in place. So this just simply adds on more capacity and hopefully helps us stay ahead of our growth in our needs for internet access.
Sounds good. I would move that we sign the agreement.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks.
Great. Thank you.
Cara?
Good morning. So the first thing that I have is it's just an increase in the funding that we're getting for our Healthy Montana Families Home Visiting programs. I think, as you all know, those budgets or that funding was decreased, and they were able to come back and give us a little bit more, as certain counties didn't go through the RFP process, and so they had a little bit more money to give out after everyone was awarded their initial funding. So it's an additional $12,350.
Great. And I'm sorry, I'm just reading through it. Okay, Healthy Montanas.
Yeah, so this is our Nurse Family Partnership and Parents as Teachers programs.
Great. Any further questions, comments?
No, I would move that we authorize the chair to sign Amendment 1 to the task order.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Juan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Can we ask for public comment before we?
Oh, goodness. Yes, is there any public comment? Thank you so much, Annie. Okay. PSA between PHC and Missoula County Health Department.
Yeah, so I'm bringing this one as well. And as Sarah is out of the office, and I have Gretchen Neal, who's my colleague from Partnership, to just help answer any questions with this. So this agreement comes out of a grant that PHC received from the CDC to support community health workers in the COVID in responding to our community's needs within in the COVID response, and so supporting populations that have had increased prevalence or are health disparities related to COVID-19. So this agreement that I'm bringing today is for $140,000, which we'll receive from PHC for the first year of this grant, and that will basically support the hiring of 2 community health workers. And we are still working out how they'll be integrated into health services at the health department, and what roles they will have. And there'll be some supervisory time as well on that. I'm trying to think what else. Gretchen, would you add anything?
And the community health workers, can you maybe just describe like who their patients are, or if I were to go to them, what sort of services I'd be receiving?
So my understanding, community health workers is sort of a new area for me, but they are, sort of more sort of peer-based support in the community. And so some of the things we're looking at is how might they, could they be integrated into supporting home visiting clients with things like housing, or just negotiating systems that are hard, that often take a lot of home visitor time, that it might be helpful to help have some more sort of peer support with that. Or can we use community health workers to help increase WIC enrollment, or immunization, helping with immunization rates or education in the community. So it's, and I'm just going to turn that over to Gretchen, because it's really her area of expertise, to see if she has anything to add.
Thanks, Kara. And I would just say, Commissioner Rivero, that you might be more familiar with community health workers than you think. It's a different term, but peer support specialists do qualify as a type of community health worker, as do outreach specialists and health navigators and care coordinators and health educators. It's a pretty broad job, and so we are still working on what exactly they're going to be doing. But the key is that they are people who have lived experience, so that is similar to the clients that they're working with. So, for example, if they were working in the home visiting program, they're going to be people who have families, who've raised children, who are familiar with. They know how to navigate the systems that their clients are having difficulty navigating, and so they have that ability to build trust based on shared experiences. And to then help improve health outcomes and improve access to services for the people that they're working with.
Okay, so it's like a social worker, but with these lived experiences, or the peer support.
Yes, yeah, they do many things that social work does, but the key differences are that they have that shared life experience. And I know it's a little bit different for the health department, but at Partnership Health Center, our social workers aren't necessarily able to go into the patient environment. They're not able to. They're in the clinic, and what we're really hoping to see is that these folks will be in the patient environment. They'll be in the home, in the community, going to meet people where they're at.
Thank you for that.
So either Gretchen or Kara, so pretty basic question here, and maybe you already mentioned this, Kara, but why is it because of the funding stream that PHC is involved here, and why would are there obstacles to just PHC doing this unilaterally as opposed to working with the health department to bring these 2 folks on board?
So PHC is the holder of the contract with the CDC, and then they're working with us, and they're also hiring community health workers, and then All Nations is also hiring 2 community health workers out of this grant, and we're sort of collaborating in that way. Does that?
Well, I guess what I'm looking at is why, and yeah, it makes sense to have collaboration here, but why would PHC not just hire 4 instead of, clearly there must be a rationale behind distributing these out to various entities like the health department and All Nations, but could you just take another run at articulating that for me?
Kara, maybe I can.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So part of the CDC's goal with this grant was to attempt to reach a wide variety of people within communities that have not, that have been kind of fallen off of the radar or who have been hit particularly hard by COVID-19. And they were looking for, in the grant applications, they were looking for partnerships within the community. So PHC applied for the grant, but it was an application in which they said, we are working directly with the local health department. We are working directly with All Nations, and we're all going to kind of do this hiring. And then we're going to hopefully reach different folks in our community through our different networks that we have. Does that help?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I appreciate that explanation. Thanks. I'd move that we approve and sign the PSA.
Thanks for explaining it. Second, any public comment? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Eric Dixon.
Yes,
with
good morning.
PSA with engineering.
Yeah, so the Sunset West Water District out by the Y uses an above ground 30,000 gallon storage tank for its water distribution system. And while there are no DEQ requirements that we inspect and clean that, we choose to do that out of good practice for our own interest. So this is a contract with Liquid Services for every 3 years. They will come and inspect and clean that tank for us. So it's an overall 9-year contract with three cleanings for just under $8,000.
For that entire 9 years or for each cleaning?
The entire 9 years. So it's about $2,600 per cleaning.
Got it. Okay.
Seems like a good idea. I'm shocked that the state does not require such a thing. Yeah, I'd move that we approve the PSA.
Second, any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And yeah, ARPA, Eric Dixon again.
For Buena Vista Sewer. So this has been going on since 2019 when we started with the initial project to replace the treatment facility out there and connect to city sewer. Phase 2 of that project is to replace the collection system. There are multiple grant funding opportunities that are involved with this funding. The estimate for the collection system replacement was $1,345,000. We have received funding from the DNRC in the RRGL program, from the Department of Commerce in the CDBG program, and from the Corps of Engineers WERDA for combined funding with this. So this last funding bit with ARPA in the amount of $125,000 should hopefully put that phase 2 project completely funded and would hopefully finally complete this entire project for the sewer system out there with the Buena Vista community.
Wow. Finally.
So it is phase 2 the final phase then? There's no phase 3?
I hope not.
Okay.
So I think once the collection system is replaced, they will be completely and officially connected to city sewer, and it'll be a city infrastructure at that point.
Geez, what a saga. I would move we authorize the chair to sign the grant agreement.
Second, is there any public comment? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Chris.
Morning, Commissioners. So this is a successor collective bargaining agreement with the Deputy Sheriff's Association. So as you'll recall, Deputy Sheriff's pay is actually set by statute as a function of the compensation board. So they're paid a percentage of the sheriff's compensation. And so we don't actually negotiate much over monetary matters with the deputies so much as we do over contract language around working conditions. And so most of the changes this year were around working conditions. We did make some minor modifications to the way that we address coroner pay As you know, one of the duties of a deputy sheriff is to serve as the coroner, as the sheriff is both the elected sheriff and coroner in Missoula County. One of the things we noticed was a disparity in how those cases are handled. The folks who are on patrol actually handle a large number of those cases versus the on-call coroners. And so we increased slightly the compensation for deputies when they're on their normal shift and have to take a coroner call from 7 to 10%, but we left that the same for the folks who serve in that role only as an on-call capacity, so they're not performing that work as often for them. So that was probably the largest compensation one that we dealt with. Language really had most to do, and we spent a lot of time, as you know, we've been exploring the concept of moving from a bi-weekly to semi-monthly pay period, so we spent a fair amount of time talking about that subject. Unfortunately, we did not reach agreement in this contract on potentially making that change, but we did spend a fair amount of time on that. Most of our other time was spent on cleanup language in this contract around, areas around vacation scheduling and other of kind of the topics that we do. So not a huge amount of changes to this particular contract, but just the successive 2-year agreement. So successor 2-year agreement, not successive, successor agreement as it replaces the previous. So.
Chris, with the coroner duties, since the sheriff is the coroner, can any deputy serve as the designee or have that delegated to him or her?
Yes, they can. And so they actually have additional training that they have to go through in order to become a deputy coroner. So there is a coroner school taught by the Montana Law Enforcement Academy and the Montana Crime Lab that they have to attend in order to become certified as a coroner and be able to fulfill those duties. But technically, any deputy can fill that role. It's usually put out for preference, and each shift out on the street, when a deputy's out on the street, there's at least one coroner available to be able to handle coroner calls.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would move that we approve the collective bargaining agreement.
Second, any public comment? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron Couts with Trust Montana and the Home Grant.
Hi, good morning. And I know that this is a project we've talked about in the past, but what I am here today to have you look at is the management plan that we are having the county sign with Trust Montana. And this is basically the document that outlines Trust Montana's duties and responsibilities under this program and the county's duties and responsibilities under the program. And just as a reminder, the county has program income from a grant that we got in 1992 that we are using to help set up this scattered site community land trust program in Missoula County. And we are hoping to use up to $90,000 to help with down payment assistance for home buyers to help create homes that are permanently affordable and that will stay as part of the land trust and, will be part of that for future generations. I know Hermina Harold is also on this meeting today if we have any specific questions about how the program works, but basically this is this document outlines what our duties are as part of that program. And it couldn't come at a better time because we are set to close on our first home next week. It sounds like that will be with these county funds. So it's pretty exciting.
Great. Or Hermina, did you want to add?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Hermina.
Yeah, thanks for having me and thanks for supporting this program. It's been a real marathon to set up this program, and we're really excited to be heading into our first closing on Monday, the 10th. And so we'll be able to help somebody purchase a home in East Missoula with these funds. So it will turn into a permanently affordable home after that. And it will only be available to people who earn under 80% AMI.
Hermina or Aaron, for the sake of the media on the line, could you just within 30 seconds or so recap for us just what this is, what this program is?
Yeah, so, sure. So essentially the county had some program income funds from an old home grant that had come back to the county, and they needed a way to figure out how to use those funds. And the market is such that it is really difficult to use down payment funds that are in the $40,000 range right now. If you use those kinds of funds, you won't be able to afford anything on the market. So sorry. So Trust Montana came to the county to offer a new program, a buyer-initiated community land trust program. So we will help people purchase homes on the market, and in exchange for that assistance, the home will turn into a permanently affordable home in our land trust. So sorry. Yeah, and Erin, yeah, it's because I'm choking right now. Do you want to add anything?
No, I mean, I'll let Mina get a drink of water. Poor everybody's just so sick right now. Yeah, I mean, basically we felt like this was a win-win. We could create, you know, homes that could remain affordable in the county. And we did, since it is home funds, there are a lot of restrictions and regulations that we have to follow, including income restrictions and maximum purchase prices on the homes that we, had to stay within. And so it's been kind of a challenge to find the correct use for those funds, but we think that we found a program that will hopefully not only help the people that can initially buy those homes, but help the people that, as those houses turn over in future years, can continue to help people down the road as well. So.
Thanks.
Thank you, Erin. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Connor, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, no.
Thanks.
Okay, well, this sounds good. Glad to see this coming to fruition here. I would move that we approve the management plan.
Second, any further public comment? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you
This
so much.
is very exciting. I will say Trust Montana has worked so hard to try to find a house and the right, as well as the clients, but it's definitely a success. So this is exciting.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Yeah. Okay, Board of Crime Control Grant application.
Yep. So this is me again, but wearing a different hat. So I have been working with the Missoula County Detention Facility on a grant through the Montana Board of Crime Control, and this is a coronavirus supplemental funding grant that the Board of Crime Control has come out with. Missoula County has applied for other grants in the past 2 years. They've had a couple of different rounds of funding for this with different focuses. And this one is specifically focused on detention facilities and helping offset costs related to COVID. So what we are asking for this grant is to help offset overtime costs related to COVID, staffing issues. And so I've been working with the jail. The grant application is about ready to submit, but before we can submit, we do need to have the chair of the commissioners sign off on the signature page. And so that is the document before you.
Great. Is this electronic, I'm assuming?
Well, it is an actual physical form. The Board of Crime Control is very, and I don't know if Annie, if you were able to print that out, but they do require an actual
Okay.
signature, and then we will have to just upload it. And then after you sign it, we'll also have to route it to Andrew Jorney to get his signature.
Documents
So-
made out of bucks.
I'm sorry.
Stormare was saying that the document's made out of buckskin.
Yeah, I know they don't always make it the easiest to get these in. Yeah. Anyway, so we're
Okay, so I
asking
guess
for $50,000 too. I forgot to mention that. So
Yes, but this needs to be signed today, and we'll
We will
If
get a
you-
copy.
we'll get a copy to. Gotcha.
yeah, fortunately with these funding, there's no actual deadline for this grant application. It's basically they have 250,000 and it's open grant cycle, but when the funding's gone, the funding's gone. And so obviously we would like to get it in as soon as possible, but yeah, I mean, we have most of the pieces together at this point. We just have a few last minute things we're pulling together here. And it does look like there's a question. I don't know if
Oh,
Oh, the rare question from the media even.
I can't even
There's
see who is.
Connor.
Oh, it's Connor's hand hiding behind the Christmas tree. So sorry, Connor, go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm trying to do it the right way and raise my hand instead of just blurting out like I usually do. So in terms of overtime, are they having to pay a lot of overtime just because of lack of staffing, or people or people having to fill more shifts? Is that more of a question for the jail facility itself?
yeah, you could definitely reach out to the jail facility, but yeah, what they've had to do is anytime a staff member has to quarantine, because of being a contact for COVID, or I think it's more often being considered a close contact for COVID, then other people have to step up to fill that role, and then that causes overtime for other staff.
Could this funding be used to get more staff? I know the problem is actually finding staff, but could it support more staff being added on?
Probably not. It's only $50,000. And it's for a very limited short time period. So it would be kind of hard to, it's really for, I don't know that it would be kind of challenging for the jail to bring in new people for just
Right.
That amount and for such a short period of time.
Right. Okay.
With all the training brought in or, necessary for that, I think.
Okay. No, that's all good. Thank you so much.
But no, those are good questions. And I think that they would love, I think also staffing in the jail, just like anywhere, is also challenging,
Yeah, we've been covering some of the issues they've had filling some of those positions. So yeah, that's why we were a little interested.
Yeah, but yeah, I would reach out to them as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Are any other questions? And then Chris had asked me to email him the document. Or Chris, are you just interested in the signature page document or the whole application?
Just the signature page so I can print it out and have them sign.
Okay, great, perfect.
Okay, I would move that we authorize the chair to sign the hard copy signature page.
In blood. Second, any public comment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Karen Harrison with negotiated collective bargaining agreement.
Yes, this agreement is also for a 2-year term, and we did spend quite a bit of time back and forth on negotiations. There were some language changes to pager assignments and overtime, nothing truly significant there. We also worked on some language about rehires and having the discretion to waive the probationary period, and also for other experience coming in and allowing some changes there to probation to just entice, I think, better hiring. The wage increase will be $110 per hour retro to June 27th, 21, and another wage increase effective next fiscal year of 75 cents. So we'll be set on wages for 2 years going forward. They did agree to the pay dates and the pay periods as part of that agreement. of possibly going to bi-monthly. And Chris, if you want to jump in on anything, please feel free if there's something you feel we need to share.
What is
No.
our probation period?
So probationary period for most of our positions at the county is 6 months, but for 911 dispatchers, it's actually 9 months,
Oh, okay.
with the ability to extend it an additional 3
Oh, wow.
for a total of 12. So it's a significant training investment. In 911, there's 4 weeks of classroom, 4 weeks of 911 phone, which is the answering position, and another 3 weeks of fire medical. So altogether, it's almost 3 months of training before they can sit by themselves at just 2 of 4 positions.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And what does AFS-CME stand for?
The American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, and this gets the entry level up to $20 an hour, which I hope helps a little bit more with recruitment.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I would move that we approve the collective bargaining agreement.
Second, is there any public comment? All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Karen. And looks like you have the next one too.
Yeah, this is just a minor formality of what you already approved last October for the non-union personnel to have their certification pay raised from 50 cents an hour to 75 cents. I believe the fiscal impact was about $13,000 for this fiscal year, and this is just formalizing it within the HR policies.
I would move that we approve the revision to HR policies regarding certification pay.
Second, any public comment? All in favor? Aye. And the next one. Sick leave.
Yeah, the last one, this is what's nice about this is there's really no fiscal impact. Currently, we allow employees to donate sick time to those who've run out of all paid leave, including their vacation, any comp time, personal time, and sick time. And an employee has to be here at least 6 months to receive that, or excuse me, to be eligible to make the donation, they have to be here at least 90 days. And to receive the grant, they also have to be here at least 90 days. We are proposing that we not allow employees to go all the way down to 0 time and instead allow them to have 1 week of paid time in their bank so that when they do return, they don't have the stress of having absolutely 0 time in their bank to deal with follow-up issues, family issues that might occur. And we are also increasing the amount, or proposing to increase, that an employee can donate instead of a minimum of 40 hours, 80 hours, or maximum of 80 hours during a calendar year, and that an employee can receive, instead of usually a maximum of 240 hours, we raise that to 280.
I'm so glad we're able to do this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how you feel about it too.
Yeah, no, this is a good move for our employees. I would move that we approve the change to our HR policies as noted regarding sick leave.
And we'll make that effective January 1 this year.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Shane Stack with Sunset West.
All right, good morning, commissioners. I got the next 3 items. So the first item is request for the board to approve the preliminary engineering report for the Sunset West water system. We had HDR complete the PER. This is one of the steps necessary for our ARPA application for the competitive funds. Really the scope of work that we're looking at on the Sunset West water system is to raise the pump system essentially from a below ground to an above ground. We have an issue with surface water flooding as well as groundwater flooding, the pump. And I do believe Craig Caprera with HDR is also on the line, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, Craig, if you're there, if you want to add anything on this, feel free.
Yeah, I'm here, Shane. Yeah, I think you got it right. The staff have found that the meter pit that contains the flow meter, air relief valve, check valve, and isolation valves, and a few other appurtenances that are in a below grade vault flood when the groundwater's high, and that causes issues not only with maintenance of the equipment, but longevity of the equipment, and then also presents a risk for cross connection with the air relief valve being down in that pit. It's been noted in inspections by the state that really should be fixed or changed and brought above grade, so that risk is no longer there. And then obviously, if it's flooded, it's extremely difficult for staff to read a meter or get in there to do any kind of maintenance on the system. And then the surface water flooding that is around the well is kind of a wellhead contamination thing. So the project is to, as Shane said, bring those appurtenances and flow meters and valves into an above grade structure, a climate controlled structure, and then regrade around the well so we don't have that surface flooding issue anymore. And we are planning on going out for competitive grant on this. I think we have a pretty good chance this time.
Great, thank you.
So just a question on the action here today. We are approving the report, or are we authorizing work to be conducted that's recommended in the report?
It's just the approval of the preliminary engineering report. And then we use this PER, Dave, as part of the application for the ARPA funding.
Okay.
And that'll be the same with the Lola PER that's coming up in a few items as well.
Okay, and no problems accessing the site up there? No. Okay.
For water?
Well, I think there's been some.
Where the tank is and where all this stuff is, they're completely different locations.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, I'd move that we approve the PER.
Second, any public comment? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, Sharon, parking.
All right, this is a request for the board to approve a professional services agreement with WGM Incorporated to design and provide construction management and bidding services for the Cheyron parking area, or the proposed Cheyron parking area, in an amount not to exceed $54,700. I did visit with both Andrew and Chris this morning, and I don't think there are any concerns with covering the $54,000 for this contract.
Yeah, this is a big deal. Ironically, we lost the media for this one. Apparently, they were here for the signature page.
But Martin might look at it later. You never know.
Okay.
You never know. No, this is exciting to get this project moving along to address a long-standing community issue.
Should be ready to go by Memorial Day weekend, the beginning of the recreation period in 2022, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be under construction by then, or if it'll be complete. Maybe Labor Day it'll be open.
Okay, okay.
Gotta wait for the asphalt plants to open.
Okay.
So.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
No, this is, like Dave said, very exciting.
Okay, I'd move that we approve the PSA.
Second, any public comment?
Well,
All in
this
favor?
is Craig at HDR.
Oh.
I just say yay.
Yay! Thanks, Craig. Okay, the PER for Lola.
we
Oh,
voted?
did we
No,
vote? Sorry.
Public comments and then, yeah.
Public comments,
Yeah.
besides Craig's yay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, the PER for Lola.
All right, the Lola water system PER. Similar to the Sunset West PER, we need the Lola PER to complete our application for ARPA funds. So the scope essentially is upgrades to a couple of wells so that we're pumping a little bit more water volume. Not quite double each of those, but close to doubling those, and then some additional water line improvements. There would be a farm lane connection from essentially Highway 93 to where the new school is under farm lane and Lewis and Clark. Tyler Way, there would be a connection underneath the railroad, and then a replacement and upsizing of a water main that goes under Glacier Drive. So I guess the importance of all three of those water main improvements is we'll have quite a bit more connectivity from the eastern and western sides of the track. Right now, we just have the one glacier connection, if I'm not mistaken, and so we've had a few breaks over the last few years on that main, and we've had to shut most of the system down in order to make that repair. With these redundancies, I think the amount of area that's shut down when we do have breaks is significantly reduced. So there's some big benefit there. And then just looking at future growth in the area, making sure that we do have the water capacity to accommodate the growth in the area. So I don't know, Craig, I don't know if I covered everything accurately there. If you want to add anything, feel free.
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well. I think we presented a draft of this PER to you guys. Boy, it was like maybe last May or June, and went through grant applications, weren't successful the first round. We've come back and kind of modified this a little bit to give ourselves a little bit better chance. So I think you've seen most of this. A big thing that was accomplished in this PER is we developed a hydraulic model of the water system out in Lola, which is a huge benefit when we're looking at the growth and evaluating fire flow and pressure for things like the new school. All really good stuff. I think these projects are really important for the resiliency and connectivity of the system, as well as upsizing the wells. Not to be funny there, but one thing that was done, Ross Miller, a water rights attorney, is working on your water rights, and the water rights for well 1 and well 2 were reestablished, if you will, to give you that full capacity. So we need to upgrade those wells so you can pump your full capacity. The system right now, as it stands, does not meet the requirement of DEQ Circular 1, which is to be able to supply the max day demand with the largest pumping unit out of service, which would be well 3 in this case right now. So it's really close, but when we upgrade those wells, we'll be in compliance with that and be able to serve the growth and the new school, things that are going on there. That's it.
Great, thank you.
Sounds good. I would move that we approve the PER.
Second, any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, Shane, before you sign off, one question for you. In either the case of this Lola water system PER or jumping back up to Sharon, have you had any communications with either the Lola or East Missoula community councils? Because I think both of them would be pretty interested in those projects.
Yeah, yes, on both of those. I presented, a couple weeks ago to the East Missoula Community Council on the Sharon Park, and they were very supportive of that project. And then Craig presented to the Lola Community Council the same evening, same time, on the Lola PER. And I don't know, Craig, if you want to elaborate on how that went.
Yeah, it went really well. And yeah, I think we've presented to the Lola Community Council. Maybe that might have been the third time, as we've gone through the process. So they're pretty up to speed with what's going on and supportive.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it.
Did we voted on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes. Okay. Kyla, Planning and Zoning Commission.
Hey, Commissioners. So this is for the Planning and Zoning Commission. We had one vacant term We had one new applicant that qualified, and his name was Justin Archibald. He lives in the Citizen-Initiated Zoning District 44. So he is eligible for appointment to a 2-year term of January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023.
I thought we had already appointed him, but okay.
Okay, I would move that we appoint Justin.
Second, any public comment? Oh, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
I do have a question regarding appointments for boards and such. Kyla, I wonder if we have had such a flurry of interviews, which continues to this moment, and it's hard to keep all these moving pieces in the air, so to speak. So I wonder if it'd be helpful to have a work session or even a 15 minutes or half an hour meeting outside of or prior to any upcoming admin meeting where we are taking action to talk through some of these, and also maybe hear from whichever agency is that these boards are connected with. Chris or Kyla, it seems like there's a ton of these coming up.
Yeah, so how would that?
We do, for several of the boards, there's multiple applicants. We have things set up with those departments. So basically CAPS, Community and Planning Services, where there was many applicants for open lands and the other planning board, and there was one other, the zoning board, I believe.
So we're going to schedule as part of the agenda with those departments discussion prior to taking action in admin. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. So at a CAPS update, you're having a couple updates for one board, and then you're having a separate meeting to communicate with CAPS staff regarding the applicants for the open lands with Juniper and her staff.
Okay, that's perfect. Are there any appointments that are not as easily connected to a department that we have
cemetery, Florence,
yeah,
Carlton Cemetery
any of those
board?
random ones out there that we might need to have another discussion on?
The cemetery board is on hold right now just because I'm in correspondence in regards to their bylaws. The other one that's coming up would be the Urban Transportation Board, and Corey Aldridge said that he would sit in for discussion since there's 2 applicants and 1 appointment essentially for that board. There's the Food Advisory Policy Board. There's 2 applicants and 1 position open. But Lori Heyer has been in part of those conversations. Those are about the only other ones I can think of.
We put the food policy
with CAPS
board on the CAPS agenda.
Yeah, I can move it. It's currently scheduled for Thursday, but I can ask Lori if she would be able to do that on a CAPS update for you.
Okay. That would be great. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Any correspondence? Further discussion items? Okay. Thanks, everyone. We did it. 15 minutes.
Thank you. All right. Goodbye.